This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. The Indiana Fever dropped game one. That's right. They dropped game one to the Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Sun took them down yesterday, 93-69. Lenny Dunn, I got something for you, Fever fans. I got something for you today. This one here is a different type of party. Folks, I got a show for you today, and I got something here I'm just going to break down one by one by one. The Indiana Fever lost to the Connecticut Sun, and that game one went just about the way I expected it to go. There was nothing that happened differently in that game, and I got a show for you, folks. I'm going to cover some stuff. Basically, get a chance to discuss with you caitlinclark getting poked in the eye. I'm going to talk about the WNBA officials. We're going to talk a little bit about soccer today. Caitlinclark, we're going to talk a little bit about the Fever adjustment going into game two. Got to adjust that defense and the wrong defense. We're going to also talk about what the responsibilities of the bench is. And we'll also cover, the emotional humiliation, and I kind of mentioned that. But it's going to be a great show. If you've been following me, I'm going to kind of set the trend on this one, and we're going to take it to a different arena. And the reason why we have to do that, because that is what is being required from the Indiana Fever. And a lot of times people don't want to get there, but let's get in it. Let's get to the box score. Let me give you about a minute rundown on that, and then we're going to just entertain each other, and you're going to have to be patient. 93-69, they jumped in there and took it down. I mean, it wasn't nothing much of it. I mean, the Indiana Fever, you look at it, you got Cark and Mitchell. What did they get up between them? 37 shots. How many did they make? 13. Okay, so you can take it wherever you want. Minus 20 on both ends for both of them. So they both were in there battling. No doubt about it. I mean, you get in there and you got to make the battles, right? That's going to happen. But when you get to the game and you get down there to the bench, they didn't get much production. You got Katie Lou's got a 0. You got Timmy's got a 0. And you got Wheeler's got a 0 there as well. And that's going to be a problem. Let's get into it. I don't want to spend much time on that because the box score is not going to show you anything. This is a different kind of party, folks. This one here is a different type of party. So I want you, if you don't have your coffee, you're going to hear me talk a little bit. And this one here may run about 30 minutes. We got about 8 topics, but I'm going to cover a part of basketball. Nobody wants to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it today. And I'll get this party started for everybody going across, give everybody some subjects, titles to get going on. Yesterday was an embarrassment for the WNBA officials. Flat out embarrassment. Okay, flat out embarrassment for the WNBA officials. First play of the game. I mean, you're not even deep in the game. You can't, and you get a foul call that they have to use a challenge. Foul call, they have to use a challenge. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, but I'm not going to stop there because the WNBA officials, they got another problem in the WNBA officials. They got another problem that they are going to have to deal with. And I'm just going to flat out tell you, I mean, you're talking about this situation, and, people can take this any way you want, okay? Showtime Hoops in Sacramento, I'm Money Mike. I understand this game. I believe in it. I'm going to take it right where it needs to go. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but somebody's feelings may get hurt. But this play right here, I told you about Carrington. I told you all day long about Carrington, right? Carrington's going to do something each and every time, okay, that's going to take you off your game, and it's dirty basketball. It's dirty. The Connecticut Sun play dirty basketball. Okay, I repeat, dirty basketball, but that's okay. That's what we come here for. Folks, I want you to visualize this picture. Let me go get you. Dirty basketball, that's what that is, but that's okay? One of the things I always will tell you is that you got to fight. Okay? And I apologize because some may take this the wrong way, but This is just what it is, has to happen. Till it happens, it's going to continue. Okay, Caitlin Clark's going to have to fight. Caitlin Clark's, I mean, literally fight. Box. Box. I mean, there could be punches thrown in this game. Okay, that's the only way. And I truly apologize. I do not mean to say anything offensive to anyone, but Caitlin Clark is gonna have to fight. Brent Clark, Annie Clark, parents of Caitlin Clark. This is that part of the game, and this one here has nothing to do with coaching. This one here, Caitlin Clark's gonna have to fight, literally. Okay, and that's part of it because at the end of the day, you're gonna get abused. Okay, and you have no protection out there. I told you guys right from the start. Okay, how do you want to play this? You're gonna have to play this game. No fouls. No fouls. Okay. And don't get me wrong, growing up, I mean, you can play it either way you want. I mean, like I said, I'm growing up in San Francisco playing basketball. We come from the concrete jungle. We play a game, and a lot of times in those games, guys will want to bet for money. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna play this with fouls or out fouls. That's the first negotiation, right? This thing in the playoffs, you got to play this with no fouls. No fouls. Don't even worry about the fouls. But here's the problem, folks. And the WNBA's got another issue. And Indiana Fever, you want to get this checked, and you want to get this corrected. The WNBA, okay, those are illegal fingernails. Illegal fingernails. Them nails either need to get clipped or taken off. You cannot play a game, and you folks, if you notice high school, college, you can't have nails or anything on. The Indiana Fever need to go into the office, okay? Go into the office and really get those fingernails clipped. That's number one. But you get this down here and this one getting poked in the eye, folks, I'm going to tell you, this bad business here. Carrington, this bad business. There ain't no doubt about it. I mean, the only way you can handle this, you're going to have to fight, okay? And I'm going to put it in perspective for the Indiana fans, okay? So the Indiana fans and the Fever fans that you can, Caitlin Clark fans, you're going to understand this, what I'm saying. You remember the movie Hoosiers? Do you remember the movie Hoosiers, okay? And Coach was getting into it, and eventually the players had to fight. They had to fight, okay? And that's what I'm talking about. The Indiana Fever are going to have to fight. Either because there's no other way that you could go about this. There's no other way you could play this. When they take out your player. Now, here's the interesting thing. How in the world did Carrington end up on this play, and how did the world did Carrington end up when it was so weird to me. It made me kind of think, okay, well, you know what? Carrington wasn't guarding Clark during the game, so they had her on Mitchell, but they switched it. But somehow she got in there, and those are illegal fingernails. I'm going to tell you right now, if you can allow players to have this first thing they don't want you to do, the reason they don't want you to have fingernails is when you got to box out or do anything, you can scratch a player, you can hit him in the eye, okay? That's what happened. Now, skip the fingernail part, okay? You hit your player, okay? The Indiana Fever, Boston, Mitchell, okay? Boston, Mitchell. They hit your best player, okay? You're talking about Hull. You better go down there and fight. You better get in there, and you're going to have to fight, fight, fight. There ain't no doubt about it. You're going to have to fight. All right, so let's get to it. But let me talk to you about soccer. Let's get to the soccer field, right? And the reason I'm going to talk to you about soccer is Caitlin Clark has a 6'4" Bonner, I believe it is, going to guard her, right? Going to guard her. 6'4", 37 years old. It's soccer time, okay? You know, I always tell you got to exchange, rotate, you got to get in motion, okay? And you cannot sit there and have one of the players who's normally potentially going to guard a wing or a post just stand. You got to run her. You better run her off in game 2 until her tongue comes out. What does the Warriors do? They play soccer. You want to bring somebody out there, bring it up. Curry's going to run you all day long until you get tired. It's soccer time, okay? Preparation, fever, coaches, assistant coaches. It's soccer time. That's Stephanie White. Man, that's great. The Connecticut Sun, 2 great adjustments. Okay, that was good. I like it. Now you got to come back, and that was just round 1. Okay, round 2, round 3. Okay, we got 3 rounds in. Now we know what you look like, what you're going to do. But great adjustment. Okay, what you did is put a 6'4" on a guard. I hadn't seen that 10, 12 years ago, okay? And that's when Aaron Gordon, who plays with the Denver Nuggets, had to guard Darren Johnson. So you had Midian Sheldon played for it, so he was going to the state. And what they did, they put Gordon on Johnson. So you got a wing that's quick enough to guard, okay, the point guard. But you cannot have Caitlin standing still. Caitlin's got to run soccer all around, all game long. Okay, I'm just telling you, you're going to run until she's out of breath, till they get it off, because you cannot do that standing still. Now, what else do you have to adjust? I told you guys earlier in the season, okay, the Indiana Fever can win without Clark really scoring or scoring first or getting started. That's too much in a playoff game, okay? It's going to throw your rhythm off. And when they throw your rhythm off, you're in deep, deep, deep trouble, okay? You're in deep trouble now. And now you got to try to figure out what we're going to do because the shots aren't falling. And not only that, you're getting blocked again and again and again. So you're not running that off. You got a downhill drive. But Mitchell and Clark, you guys got to reverse this, okay? And what I mean by reverse it is basically you got to be able to dribble, drive, penetration, kick, Clark and Mitchell, and then you got to turn everybody else into perimeter shooters, okay? And that's a simple adjustment because at the end of the day, they got the paint. They're really, really, really collapsing in the paint every time Clark and Mitchell go there. So that means you got to rotate your shooters and get them spotted up in different spots. Send that ball back out. Now you got something that you can actually get going. But 50-50 balls, 50-50 balls, you got to get them. And this is where you get the playoff experience, right? So you got a little differentiation in playoff. What was it, like 222 games to the Fever 19 game. But the fight, that you don't need no experience for that, right? And here's the deal with the defense. You're in the wrong defense, guys. And I'm going to get you something here that's going to get you out of it because this is interesting and this one's good. I mean, I got to give them credit. I don't know how you came up with this, but it's not going to work for you. It's just not going to work. And when you get something like this, take a look. Take a look at this one, folks. You're in the wrong defense, okay? You're flat out in the wrong defense. And let me get you in the right defense here so I can get this thing moving, right? Because the Indiana Fever in the wrong defense, and when I say in the wrong defense, let me tell you what I mean. Okay, you got Alyssa Thomas bringing the ball up. Okay, the first thing I'm going to tell you, you got Alyssa Thomas bringing the ball up. And when Alyssa Thomas brings the ball up, you cannot do the defense of the sag. What you did, I mean, granted, you put it in, but it didn't work, and it threw all of your post players off. The defense the Fever in yesterday threw all the post players off. They were confused, and it looked like almost like you put in something that you didn't have, and it threw off everybody. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, how did this happen? Because the Indiana Fever were so far off that the post players didn't even know what to do. That when they're on the defense. So what does that tell me? You put something in that you weren't ready to do. I have no idea what's going on. Let me tell you what's happening here. You got Nia Smith goes 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes. 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers, -3. I already told you guys you can never win a playoff game or you can't win the playoff games without Nia Smith. You're going to get blown out. You're going to get blown out without Smith. You cannot make this switch. Then you go in there and you go back down and you get in there to Timmy. Timmy goes in there 13 minutes, 0 point. I mean, you're getting 0 buckets. So some adjustment you made, you better get out of it quick. The Indiana Fever got to get out of this quick because you're throwing your whole team off with that game plan you put in because they never ran that game plan before. The Indiana Fever haven't run that game plan before, folks. That one there, you're dead out wrong on the defense, and you gotta get your guys. I'm telling you, you gotta fix this quick. Okay, you got a game to do it, but man, you're in the wrong defense. I don't know how you guys did that. Okay, but here's the defense I'm talking about, and this is what I mean by the wrong defense. Okay, you got to listen. Thomas got 12 assists. Okay, this sag defense you got going here, that's the wrong defense, folks. This is what you got them doing here, sagging all the way back and just give it Alyssa Thomas a free reign. That's wrong defense, folks. Look at this thing here is wrong, and let me tell you why. I really want to get into this and get into it because you're not putting any ball pressure on Alyssa Thomas, so you got her in a defense that nobody's literally guarding her, and that's the wrong defense. I'm not going to try to get it on film, but I'm going to break this down for you. Here's what I mean by wrong defense. Here's exactly what I mean. In practice, you could throw a post player, post entry all day. Nobody's guarding. Nobody's guarding Alyssa Thomas. You guys, the defense, the game plan that was put in, we're going to sag off for her and get help. But here's the problem. She's going to make the first initial pass. Then we're going to send it back to her. By the time they send it back to her, your help and recover is not there. And you can't do that. You got to put it in a deny. Once she gives up the ball for the first time, you never let her get the ball back. You don't let her get the ball back. Don't worry about it. You got an excellent defensive four-man rotation. Don't worry, Alyssa Thomas, bring it up. But you cannot play, let's sag off because she's not going to shoot. Because here's where she's killing. When she gets dribble drive penetration or reads the defense, goes to the spot, you're lost. And you cannot play that defense in game two. Scrap that one. Okay, scrap that one. You got to go in there and just play straight up. Let's play because it killed you. It killed you. They really, it gave her an opportunity. Shots going up. She was able to get the rebounds. Shots going up. She was able to go ahead and find the shooter. And then every once in a while, she make it down to the elbow. You confused everybody, and you didn't get any post-production. And you don't want to do that. You don't have to change to get a win. But this was drastic. I couldn't understand it. I called my friends, coaches. I called guys that have played. Everybody was saying the same thing. What are you doing? You cannot have a situation where you let her just kind of come. Look how nobody's guarding her. Okay, so that means she's got a full read on everything that happens on the floor. And you can't have that happen, folks. I'm just trying to bring that one to you. And when you get in a situation, you got to change that. You got to change Alyssa Thomas from being on the court and not being able to have that read. That is a full open read by not guarding her and sagging. And here's what it's doing. It's actually giving them a huge advantage. Scrap that. Get back to what you do. You're going to, and because that's not the problem, okay? And let's get to the bench. Folks, I'm going to take you to the bench. And the bench has got a whole different job for the playoffs, right? The bench has got a whole different job. I'm going to tell you, the bench has got a whole different job for the playoffs. I'm going to meditate on this. The bench, the Indiana Fever, and the bench have a whole different job for the playoffs. That's right. Indiana Fever and the bench have a whole different job for the playoffs. Okay, let's get to it. Let's just get right into it. You got Timmy. Okay, you're going to get in there. If you got Samuelson, you got Wheeler. I mean, anybody's coming off that bench. Okay, your job is not to come off the bench and play basketball in the playoffs. It's where playoff experience gets you, right? Because when you get there, first of all, you're not getting any production to go along with your bench, right? Because you only get a couple players to score. But here's the bench's problem. The bench duty, okay, and I told you this is boxing. Playoffs is like boxing. Now, the bench duty is to put bodies on the floor. That's your job now. Your job is to put bodies on the floor, okay? We're going to slow the Connecticut Sun down. We're going to put bodies on the floor. What do I mean by bodies on the floor? We're checking everybody. We're coming in there hard, checking hard, okay? Because we're going to build this thing up so high, okay? If you look, okay, at the Indiana Fever bench, and I want you to take a look at that. I want you to look at fouls, okay? You got here, Katie Lou, there's one foul. Okay, you come in there, you're going to get Fingernails. Okay, you get in there. She doesn't even have a foul. Okay, this is where it gets real bizarre. Wheeler gets in the game. She doesn't even have a foul. Okay, so you got to look at what's going on. You got Dantas in there with two. You can't play regular basketball off the bench now. This is the playoffs. You can't play regular basketball now. You got to play it the way it's supposed to be played because I'll repeat it. I'll go over it again. I don't want you to miss it, but I got to go over it. Okay, you look at the bench. You look at the fouls. Okay, there's different tendencies. Okay, you got Wheeler's got no fouls. You got Fingernails got no fouls. You got Samuelson's got no fouls. And you got Dantas has one foul. Okay, out of the whole bench, the guys you normally play, you got one foul off the bench. You can't play that way in the playoffs. Playoffs are about body to body, chest to chest. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to sugarcoat it in any way. Mabry's going to hit the deck. Carrington's going to hit the deck. Okay, and you're going to get Thomas is going to hit the deck, right? Bonner's going to hit the deck. Man, when that bench, that's check time. That's check time now. Why does the bench have to do that? Because you got to go in there and play physical. You got to go in there and put their bodies on the ground because here's what they're doing. They're putting your players on the ground, okay? And this is not that part, folks. I'm telling you, I'll take you back to Hoosiers, okay? They're slamming people in the walls and the glass. Okay, you poke my guy in the eye, you do something, man, we're going to nail you back so hard on the bench, you got to get ready. And this is not about the preparation that the Fever need to get. You're going to have to fight, okay? And I'll tell you this, you know what? My young ladies, they knew it, okay? And I'll give them all a shout-out. Didn't matter. It was Mimi, Gina, Deja, okay? Marlo. I mean, it doesn't matter, okay? We going to fight. If you get to doing this kind of stuff on the court, then that ain't saying you want to play basketball. That's saying you want to fight. And I'm going to tell you about Carrington, man. The league, man, I'm telling you what, because this one got me, and I ain't really having it. I'm not really excited about it, and I saw it from a different way, and I want you to look at it from a different way because this thing here is horrible. There ain't nothing good about this play, and I'm going to tell you why, folks. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to bring it to you just the way it's supposed to be brought. Because here's what I want you to look at. I want you to look at Carrington's closeout here. Okay, this is what the league office. This is where the Indiana Fever need to send the league office to film because I'm going to show you the difference what Carrington did here and what Carrington did to Caitlinclark, right? Because it's two different plays here, right? So you watch this closeout here, and you watch how her hand stays up and it doesn't go down in the player's face, right? So you got to look at this thing, right? You watch. Look how her hand just stays up. Okay, look how she just runs by, no problem, right? No fingernails down, no nothing. This is where the league needs to look at this, right? And I'll give it to you again. The league needs to look at this because look at her hand. Your hands are down, and there's nothing that's going to stop it, right? So when she comes through, her hand is not even going to go down into the face. But I'm really trying to understand what is the fingernail length in the WNBA? What's the fingernail length in the WNBA? Because them nails need to get clipped. Okay, do you see how long those fingernails? Them fingernails need to get clipped. I don't care how much fashion you have. There's got to be a length of fingernails. Now, somebody might go through the rule book and go, well, Mike, we don't have that rule in here. Well, you know what? You got to fight then. Okay, because a player could poke a player in the eye with nails, could have lost their eye. But the whole part about it, the way she came down in the clothes, that's dirty basketball, folks. And I don't care how you want to play it. One thing I do know, growing up playing basketball, that I can actually just really tell you, I don't care how you want to play. Just let me know how you want to play, okay? And then we'll play that way. Now, if you don't let me know, then you got bodies falling all on the ground and you getting hit and fouled and out-aggressive, then I know which way we're playing. I'm going to tell my ladies, let's go. Okay, we about to fight. This ain't going to be where you just going to be in there. And this hand down, I'm telling you, man, this girl does a lot of stuff. Okay, and it's all dirty. Okay, that's Carrington. But Carrington, I tell you what, man, Carrington's going to the deck. For that in game 2, Carrington's going to the deck. Okay, there ain't no, I told you guys before, Carrington's going to the deck. Okay, this dirty play that you want to do, you could do it. But you're going to the deck for this one. And the Indiana Fever and all the Indiana Fever players know it. So whatever you do, the bench, your job is to throw the body blows, okay? Understand what I'm saying here, folks. For that Indiana Fever bench, your job is to come on the floor. Your job is to get as physical you can. Your job is going to put bodies on the deck, Wheeler. Wheeler, you're a vet, okay? And let me tell you how this works, folks. NFL, you hit the quarterback. You do anything a quarterback, man, the teams and the linemen, everybody going to deck you. This is that part of the game, okay, that has to be handled, okay? It has to be handled for the Fever to get to game 3, okay? You get in there, you hit a quarterback, it's going to the deck. You get in the NBA, you knock their point guard down, you knock somebody down, you knock Curry down, man, you going to the deck. In baseball, you go in there and you fire at him. You fire at somebody's head, and that player gets there and starts walking towards the mound. Man, and all those players are coming off the bench, and that's the fight. You're going to have to fight. This one here, you're not going to win this by playing basketball, okay? That part goes out the window. That part, all the awards, Rookie of the Year, MVP, all that ain't that kind of party. This kind of party here is they're punking the Indiana Fever, and the Indiana Fever can't be punked. That's what you got. And Christie Sides Kudo got your first tee. Now let me show you how to get them. You got to go back and you got to fight in this thing here. And like I told you in game one, empty that bench early. Because if you start getting humiliated, the only thing you can do is don't leave the players on the floor and go through that emotional humiliation. If you get inside of 4 minutes, you're down by 20, man, get those players out of there, send everybody else in. Let's go. Let's get off. But it comes back down to it. And, folks, I'm going to tell you, I'll run through this again. WA officials, clip your nails, okay? We'll get you back on that. You got to get a nail length. And if them nails are legal, I don't know. They might not be in the rule book. I'm not interested in no fashion. You better go get you some clip-ons. But it's dangerous, okay? And if you poke my guy and my guy goes out there and shoot 3 for 13, my instruction to the Showtime Hoops ladies always knew we going to be playing so hard. There might be some blood. I want to see some blood on the jerseys, okay? That's literally how my timeouts have went in some games. I need to see some blood on the jerseys. What does that mean? We are physical. This ain't about basketball and the post and all that. This is about players hitting the deck, and you got to do that, okay? This is about Hoosiers. That's what this is about, okay? It's about Hoosiers. You want to win it, you're going to have to fight. Brent Clark, Annie, okay, I'm sorry, but there ain't no way around this because they can't keep punking Caitlin and knocking her around, doing all this dirty stuff. You're going to have to fight, and you know what? It's a rat pack fight. Players on the bench, you got to stay on the bench. Everybody else on the Fever, you jump in that huddle right now, and I don't care. I'll take 20 minutes to get this game back together. You separate them because that dirty play right there and bench players, they let them come off the bench. You better bop them. You're doing a body count when you come off the bench, right? So you got soccer. You got to play soccer. That's what we talked about earlier. You got to play soccer. You got a 6'4" player, 37-year-old guard. All you're going to do is keep running. That's all Curry does. He wears them out. Keeps running and running and running and running. Before you know it, you're exhausted. What do you got to do? You got to run your offense through. You got to run your offense through every time you run. Because guess what? Options are going to come from that. Let her run through 3-4. Body Caitlin never stop you. Play soccer time. Nothing wrong with it. Listen, Thomas, 12 assists. Fever in the wrong defense. You cannot sag off a player. Invite, shoot the player is what you're trying to do. Okay, it's almost close to illegal defense because you're so deep in the cleave, but she's bringing the ball up. But here's the deal, folks. The minute you sag back, all she wants is the first entry. That second entry pass that Alyssa Thomas is going to receive back, that's when the play begins. She'll get you downhill. She's trying to go elbow to elbow inside of there. She's had surgery, soldier. So what is everybody saying? Okay, well, she's not going to shoot it. No, when she gets it back, she's the playmaker. You got to adjust that, and it turns into don't let her get the ball back, deny defense, deny defense, deny defense. No doubt about it. That's a simple fix, and you got to do that. There's no doubt. Somebody pokes my player in the eye, I poke your player in the eye. That's just the way it goes. Boxing, you hit me with a low blow, I hit you with a low blow. Whatever you do to me, I'm doing back to you, okay? So you're going to handle it however you want to handle it because the WN officials can't handle it. They can't handle it. Right from the start. You got another player's not even out of bounds, called player. They can't handle it, okay? I'm sorry, but they can't handle it, okay? So we're playing it, no fouls, and whatever you do to my player, you got to play this like the NFL plays, eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's how playoff basketball. You thought the regular season was tough, man, I'm going to put you on the deck. You know what? You better get your ice bags, okay? And when I tell my ladies, ice bags, it's ice bag time, you better get your ice bags. I put players. The bench has got to put them on the deck. That's body shots time, right? You got to make sure the offense got to adjust this thing out. You got to reverse it. Clark and Mitchell, dribble, drive, penetration, kick. Clark and Mitchell, dribble, drive, penetration, kick. They don't have to be the scorer to set the tempo of the game. I told you, you got to get the other players going. You got to get Nia Smith going. Her playing 9 minutes, man, that's crazy. And I tell you what, if she checked out because of this, then there's a problem. But, man, you can't take your post. You got your post wizard up so hard, you just got to play it the way they've been playing. Because I saw the confusion. They don't even know what to do. They were confused. Just get them back to where you were so they can actually go ahead and just play. And you got to play man-to-man on Alyssa Thomas. Finn Beignet can do that. Smith can do that. You can stop that easy stop. But you can't play a sag defense, let her fall back, then let her come back, get the ball back, and now she's dribble drive penetration. She's got open view to throw it anywhere you want it, okay? So you got to adjust that. And that's the thing. And you're not going to get humiliated out there, and you got to be able to do it. But, guys, the name of this game in playoff basketball is physical basketball, right? And when you get physical and you get somebody like Dijonai Carrington, man, I salute you, but I'll put you on the deck. I salute DJ Carrington, but you know what? Down in Sacramento, Lady Showtime Hoops, you hitting deck. We ain't even going to allow this type of party to go down. It's went on for too long, and this little thing like it's not happening. No, it's really happening, okay? And eventually, Caitlinclark, Clark, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to go Hoosiers on this one, and you're going to have to get in there and do what you have to do. But I'll tell you, folks, you know what? Preparation for game 2, you know, it started out like this. My team is going to start. Ladies, come here. This ain't about basketball. This is about fight. This is about fight. Okay, we got to fight. Boston, you got to fight. Okay, Mitchell, you ready to fight. Trust me. Mitchell is ready to fight. Mitchell is ready to fight, okay? This has went on too long. This has went on too long because now they're saying when you come to the playoffs, they're going to punk you, okay? And Christie decides, I'm sorry, okay, this is that part of the party, and this is the way they're going to take you out, and if they don't fight, then you ain't never going to get your respect in the league. And that's the way the game is played. Nobody can take that away from me, and nobody can ask it to come back to me. I'll tell you what, this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're having all the fun. You know, it was a rough day. My Niners took a loss. That's right. They took a big one to the Rams. But the Indiana Fever, you got to fight. There ain't no doubt about it. You got to make the adjustments, the main adjustment the Indiana Fever going to make. You just got to be physical. That's how you win in the playoffs. Ain't no doubt about it. And it is what it is. But we'll tell you the same thing, and I ain't going to change off of it, okay, is you're going to have to fight this thing out. You're going to have to do it the way you do. Dijonai Carrington, Christie, you're going to have to handle that. Fever, you're going to have to handle that, okay? This is not about X's and O's, okay? But you ain't going to come out here and poke players in the eye. And them fingernails, I'm going to tell you what, I don't know what the length on the fingernails is, but they better find out because if you got nails on during the game, man, that's even worse, okay? And if her eye is okay, got poked in the eye, she could have lost the eye. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We'll be coming back to you soon. We'll break it down, but we ain't going to sugarcoat it. We'll see you soon. All things are possible to those who believe.